Welcome back. This is our second video on the string jig, and today we're going to make a Flemish string for this bow. Now I've measured knot groove to knot groove across the back of the bow, and it's 68 and just over 1/4 inch. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the other peg. I'll put that long one in there. We'll use this one, and we're going to set this at 68. We can't go 1/4. We can go to 69. We'll go the next one up. I always like to prefer to plait a little bit more in than not enough. Okay. So we've set the middle scale to 69. That scale is the knot to knot groove side. It's not ammo size. Our jig is slightly different to others, and we'll explain as we go along. This is the existing string that we've got on this bow. That bow's not finished, but this string does fit it. We put it onto number 1 peg, put it round number 2 peg, not too tight but don't have it loose, down to number 3, and up we come, and you can see that it's around just over 65 1/4. So we've got this one at 69, the actual bow length is 68 and just over 1/4. This is 65 and just over 1/4, so there's 3 inches difference, which is what ammo allow for your string. So we know what length the existing string is, and we know which length it's got to be to suit that bow. So we've got some Fast Flight Bow Plus, which we're going to make the string out from, and we're going to use 16 strands, so we want 2 bundles of 8. Now I'm just going to do a little knot. Not going to do a double knot, it's one that can tighten up, and I'm not going to put it on this pin like most of the other videos show you. I'm going to put it on that pin, the one marked an X, because if you do that, when you cut through the bundles, you cut your loop off and you end up with all your strands opposite each other, exactly the same length. If you do it the other way, you end up with the one shorter. Right, so start on that peg with the X, round to the one opposite, down to the bottom peg, up to the middle peg, back down to the bottom peg on the opposite side, and back up. Now come down to the next set of pegs, and do that every time you come round and back up to the top. So we're going to do 8 times. Don't need this to be very tight, don't pull on it, don't yank on it, just don't have it slack. Now we're using a bronze coloured string because we prefer the colour. A lot of people use white, but you do get a problem with Flemish strings when they're white, when you do them by hand. You can wash your hands and get them as clean as you can get them. And the string wax that you buy from most of the archery shops, the synthetic stuff, when it's warm, it goes quite runny, very soft. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll just come round onto the top peg where we started, and we'll just tie it off onto there. Now the wax, we use beeswax. We find that if we use a beeswax, it's not as soft as the synthetic stuff. Now the synthetic stuff will suck the grease from your hands, and it'll transfer it into the white string, so we end up with a very dirty string. And we find that if you use a beeswax, it doesn't come out as dirty, it's quite clean. You'll never get it perfect, but if you can cut down the grime that goes into your string, it's going to look better at the end of the day. Right, we need to cut through here now. I've wrapped it around that one. I've just got a little bit of tension on it. I'm just going to bring it back, put my fingers over there. That stops any of the tails flying up and getting tangled up. There's a groove running down the centre, sharp knife, and just cut straight through it. Now as you can see, that's the first bundle done, and the loop that we put on the end has been cut off, and it's on the peg. Take it off, you don't need it. And all your tails are the same length, look. There you go. Alright, if you want to put a bit more wax on, you can put it through, but don't. Wrap it around your finger first, because if you're not careful, you're going to pull all the loops out, all the strands out of sync, and then you've got to try and get them back in order, and it's a pain. That stops you. Take it off, bring it back out, and I'm just going to pop it over this clamp here just to keep it out of the way, with the end that I've waxed towards me. We're going to do it again now. Little loop, drop it onto the peg mark X, round the next one opposite, and start again. Second set of on. Back up to where we started on the X, wrap it round the one opposite, just once, bring it down, fingers over the end, just cut through. There we go, simple as that. We don't need that anymore. Roll it off, wrap it round your finger, add a bit of wax. We have 2 bundles now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to equal them up on the end, and I'm going to set it so that both of them are at the end of this scale, which is 9 inches. Okay. Now I've done that, I'm going to come around this peg a few times just to make sure that it doesn't come away. Now we can start to plait it. So, first off, right over left. We're going to use some clockwise twists, put a few in to start with, that helps tighten the bundles up. And what we're going to do is we're going to start on my left hand with the string in my groove, and I'm going to roll it down to my fingertip with my thumb. I'm not going to turn my hand, I'm going to roll it. That'll give you the clockwise twist. I'm going to do the same on the other hand, but I'll start on my fingertip and roll it up to my groove in my finger. That gives me the same as the other side. You can see there's plenty of twists in that. Once we've done that, I'm going to come under with this hand. My middle finger normally takes the bundle, I close it up with my index finger and I turn it over. Then I can take it back with my other hand. That's the first anti-clockwise, and then you just keep on doing that. Now as we're going, you need to make sure these are nice and tight. If they're not, you can pull it apart, pull the 2 ends apart, it'll help tighten it up. If you haven't got enough twists in there, then your string is going to stretch, your loops are going to stretch, and it's going to continually keep stretching. Lots of twists, nice and tight, they'll make a very nice string. Now I normally do about 19 and 21 for the 2 loops. I've totally forgot how many there are, so you can count them back if you want to, but if you don't want to do that and you know roughly how it's going to be, the size, we can just fold it back and have a look to see if the loop's the right size. If it's a little bit small, put another couple of twists in. If you think it's okay, then we go on to the next step. I'd say that's okay. So I'm going to unravel that off the pegs, bring it back round, lift it off, and then set it up so I can plait the rest of the string. So what we want to do is get a short side and match it up with one of the long ones. Okay, pop it back on the peg. Now I find it's easier just to shove my thumb in the centre with my nail, just to get them on top of each other and levelled up. Take the twists out, you don't want them with twists in to get them to bind together, so take as many out as you can and then pull them together. Wax them if you need to, this has got a fair bit of wax on, and put some twists in. Do the same on the other side. At any point when you're doing the string, if you feel it needs a bit more wax, put some wax on. Pull it together, put some twists in, and then we can start again, right over left. And then we're doing the main plait with the tails back into the main string now, after we form the loop. Now you'll see that we have 2 bundles of 8, which is 16 strands for the loop. It's actually 32 now, and as it gets plaited down the string, it'll get thinner and thinner because all of these strands here are different lengths. So you should have a nice taper down into the main string when you finish. Right, I'm going to add a little bit of wax because some of these tails are going to start sticking out in a minute. if you've got a few sticking out as you're going along, it's not a problem. It's one of the things that happens. You can either cut them off, burn them back, or just wax them back into the main string. Doesn't really matter. It's not going to make any difference to your string. So we just got to plait this down now, and we're going to plait it down till we get down to 9 inches down there. So this scale on here allows you to plait your tails to wherever you want them to. There's a few different, well, there's half-inch increments up to 9 inches. So if you want to extend your loop size, you can measure the bow exactly the same as what we did when we started the video, but instead of setting your tails to 9 inches, if you want a bigger loop, you set it to 8 or 7 or 7.5, depending on what size loop you need. That's why our jigs are slightly different. Once you've done a couple, then you'll get to know roughly what setting you need, and it will still give your string the correct length when you're finished. Right, I'm getting a little bit tangled up here, so just run them back, get them out of the way, gives us a little more to play with. And just check this for length. Almost there. Right, you can see it's knotted up behind. Now if you just push it down, it's going to knot up even more. Use your index finger and your thumb, drop it in the loop, put a little bit of tension on, and you'll see it comes out quite easily. Just get it all the way to the end, and then it gives you plenty of room to carry on plaiting back down the other end. There you go. Give it a little tug just to tighten it up if you think it's opened up a little bit, and then carry on. About another 3. There we go, that's good enough. We're down to 9 inches. Alright, I'll put that back on. I'll just take the twists out again. It's going to be easier to measure it now. Alright. Now I'm just going to clamp this for a moment. I have a third clamp here, and I'd just like to clamp it just to make sure that it doesn't open up when I take the twists out, because we've got lots of twists in these two bundles now that have been put in there by forming the one end of the loop and plaiting all this down. Now if we plait the other end, we're going to have exactly the same amount, so you're going to end up with a lot of twists in your string. So you're going to have 2 twisted bundles twisted together, which is going to give you a pretty bad looking string. So what we want to do is we want to take them out. We're going to twist them to straighten the string up. Now I know that it takes me roughly, with my size hands, may differ for yours, you'll find out once you've made a string. It takes me roughly 55 twists to get from there to there. Divide that by the 2 bundles, roughly 26, 28. So I'm going to try 27. So I'm going to twist this to take them out. Right, I've done 27 there. Just give it a little tug and see if there's any more left in there. Maybe a couple. So just to make sure we get it nice and straight, we'll split the bundles roughly half. Put a pen in there, or a bit of doweling, or whatever you've got that's not going to drag on the strands, and just pull it back, and you'll see it's straightened up the strands now nicely. Okay, we'll move that one out of the way, and we'll do the same on this one. Okay, 27. There's 27. Give a little tug, have a look. Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 still in there, so we'll do the same. Run the pen down. It doesn't matter, it won't hurt to do that anyway. Split them apart, put the pen in. A little bit of tension on it makes a big difference, and it comes out nice and easy. There we are, 2 strands, 2 bundles, nice and straight. Right, for me, I always work the other way around. You may want to as well, it's entirely up to you, but I'm going to put some twists in this now so that we're going to put them in to counteract any twists that are made when we form the other end of the string. So I'm going to do the same again now. I'm going to put 27 in. Right, there's my 27, I'm just going to wrap it round there. I'm going to do the same on the other one. Right, so we've got 27 and 27, and take that off the peg. Right, now we're going to measure it. We put it onto peg 1, up to peg 2, because we need to know where to start plaiting from to make your string. Right, there we go, got it laid out. Now it was 68 and a quarter, wasn't it, for the string groove to string groove, but it has to be 3 inches shorter, which is this scale. So it comes to 65 and 3/8. We'll get the tape, we'll measure that, and we've got just over, we've got about 9.5 inches. Now we've got 9 inches here we need for plaiting the tails. So I'm going to go to the 66 there, which is going to give me my 9 inches there. Okay, so we just pinch it off at that. Put it onto the peg. Wrap it round a couple of times. That keeps it out of the way, and we can start plait the other end. You may want to do it bigger, but do one first and then decide, because your loops always stretch. So you may end up with loops much bigger than you want. So you probably end up doing them a little bit smaller when you look at them when you're making it, but they will end up bigger. Take it off, match your tails up, short to long on both sides, put it back on the peg, centralise it, take your twist out of the string, pull them together and put a few twists in. Same on the other side. Right over left, and then carry on plaiting. I'll move this over to this side out of the way. If you need any more wax, because the tails are going to start sticking out in a minute, if you want them to be a bit neater, we'll wax them in a bit. And then carry on. Now when you do different colours together, and you have two bundles that are both different colours, we find that when you get to finish plaiting on the second end, when you pull them together, one of them might be a little bit droopy. One's tight, the other one's a bit droopy. And we find that the dyes that are used in the manufacturing of the strings that are put into the string material gives it a slightly thicker or thinner circumference. So when you are plaiting them around each other, one gets slightly shorter. But if you pull them very gently, they will even up and you can get around it that way. Start to knot up a little bit behind, so finger in groove and thumb in the groove. Just pull it back, a little bit of tension, and the knots will come out nice and easy. And then we can carry on. And just plait this down to the 9 inches on the scale. Almost there. One more. Okay, let's take the twist out that we've got left. Sometimes you have to do it twice because there's always a couple left once you've done it, so do it again. There we go. Right, so we've got now twists in the string. Now you may have a few twists left in the bundles at near the ends, so just twist them back the opposite way and run them back into the middle if you've got some. It's better to be spread out over that distance rather than bunched up near the plaiting. Okay, we've took the twists out now. We've got nice straight bundles. I'm going to pop it onto this peg and I'm going to put some extra twists in it just to make sure that it doesn't come apart when we string it, and it should give us the correct brace height near enough. I normally do about 28. Okay, put it back on that peg. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a pull. When you pull it, make sure it's at the bottom. If you put it at the top, you'll break the jig or bend the pin. So make sure it's at the bottom. I'm just going to give a little bit of tug. Okay. Now you may want to set up a peg or something on the bench that's a lot stronger than that, so you can put a lot more pressure on. Or if you've actually got a tiller rig, put it on the tiller rig and stretch it. Five and 3/4. I like mine just under 6. There you go, one finished string. Now we've got it to the brace height we wanted. We'll just check it for length. So on the outer scale we want it to be as near to 3 inches difference as we can get. And if you have a look at that, we wanted string to string groove was 68 and 3/8, which is there, and we are 65, and I'd say that's 3/8. So we're absolutely bang on the length that we need, 3 inches difference. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.